The battle for Titan. The methane-rich atmosphere of Titan assaulted my force sensors as I emerged from our drop pod into the murky orange haze. My chronological sensors registered local time 14.27 rotational units. We had exactly 1 unit to secure processing site 7 before the third wave would begin their assault on the main colony complex. The gravity felt wrong, too light, too ethereal, but our species had trained for this. 3 cycles of preparation had brought us here, to this human-infested moon, where these parasitic creatures dared to harvest resources that rightfully belong to the greater galaxy. Listen carefully, 3rd Scout Verex, Sub-Commander Callus' resonance patterns rippled through my neural receivers. These humans, the word itself caused a shudder in their communal frequency. They come in 2 varieties in this sector, both equally repulsive. The Sub-Commander's neural feed projected tactical imagery. The warriors wear shells of absolute darkness, an insult to the sacred void itself. But the workers, the resonance pattern flickered with disgust. They showcased their biological insanity. Transparent bubbles housed their calcium-supported feeding orifices, those horrifically mobile eye stalks, and the revolting patch of protein filaments they sprout from their highest point. Their thermal regulation is so primitive they require bright orange containment suits that glow like distress beacons. They are an affront to evolved life itself. Watch for their gravity-defiant waste haulers, the Sub-Commander continued. These primitives have turned their maintenance vehicles into weapons. One-pilot craft that hover on reflected gravitational fields. They've learned our plasma bolts reflect off their mirror undersides, and they drop a pause in the resonance. They drop something worse. The chrono display in my neural feed ticked to 14.35 as I scuttled forward with my squad. All 6 anchor limbs finding purchase in the frozen methane surface. My targeting appendages swiveled independently, tracking multiple threat vectors as we advanced through the industrial maze of pipes and processing units. The first plasma exchange lit up the orange haze. 4th Scout Neelix's bolt struck a black shell human square in the chest, but 2 more appeared on the elevated platform, their own weapons spitting deadly energy. I released my anchor limb's grip and dropped flat as return fire sizzled overhead, my reinforced dorsal plate scraping against the icy surface. My neural net registered 4th Scout Neelix's death screech as a bolt found its mark. Rolling to my secondary locomotion position, I fired upward, my plasma bolt catching one of the black shells in their joint servos. The human dropped, their leg mechanisms fused. The facility's automated methane collection cycles continued their rhythmic pumping, marking time as we advanced. 14.42. That's when I first witnessed these waste haulers in action. 3 of them skimmed above the methane frost, their human pilots visible in their disgusting transparency. My squad had just breached the perimeter of Processing Site 7 when the first one banked hard above us. A small object tumbled from its cargo bag. The resulting sphere of blue-white energy consumed 2 of my squad mates. Nothing remained of their carapaces or neural cores, just empty space where they had stood. I watched in horror as their final resonance patterns dissipated into static. My sensory frills detected the distinctive ionization signature milliseconds before a second hauler made its approach. I launched myself sideways, all 6 anchor limbs propelling me behind a methane condensation unit. By 14.50, the battle had devolved into chaos. Our initial advantage in numbers meant nothing against these hovering death dealers. The Black Shell warriors provided covering fire while the waste haulers made pass after pass, dropping their spheres of annihilation. My 3rd set of limbs trembled against my will. This was not the glorious conquest we had been promised. I watched another squad attempt to advance, using our standard leapfrog tactics. The waste haulers seemed to anticipate this, their attacks perfectly timed to catch troops between cover points. A proximity alert from my rear sensors forced me to spring upward, my anchor limbs catching a vertical pipe as a sphere detonated below. The methane frost vaporized instantly, creating a momentary clear zone in the haze. 14.59. My neural processors raced, analyzing each attack pattern, each sphere's trajectory. That's when I noticed it. The energy spheres. They only activated upon sudden deceleration. Through the murk, I could see the collection facility's primary storage tanks. We'd lost nearly half of the assault force in just over 30 minutes. An idea formed from my neural center. Something that went against all our tactical training. I extended my gravitational manipulators, meant for stabilizing our larger weapons, and waited for the next waste hauler to make its run. My anchor limbs dug deep into the frozen surface, bracing for the attempt. 15.07. The sphere dropped. Time seemed to slow as I diverted power from my secondary systems to the gravitational manipulators. I caught it in a gravitational cradle, maintaining its momentum exactly, my sensory frills straining to calculate the precise vector. With a surge of energy through my tertiary nerve bundle, I reversed its direction with a wide arc, maintaining momentum. The waste hauler had already begun to bank away when its own weapon detonated precisely where it had turned. The orange-suited pilot's final expression was a fascinating study in human terror. All units, I broadcast on our battle frequency. Gravitational manipulators can return their spheres, maintain momentum, reverse vector, share targeting data. By 15.15, the tide had turned. 3 more waste haulers fell to their own weapons before they realized what was happening. I led a charge across open ground, my anchor limbs propelling me in long, low bounds while my targeting appendages picked off black shells trying to flank our position. 2 more spheres I caught and returned, my neural net now automatically calculating the perfect momentum maintenance. The methane processing cycles marked 15.22 as the black-shelled warriors tried to adjust their strategy, but their plasma shields were calibrated for our standard weapons. They hadn't prepared for their own technology to be used against them. I watched with satisfaction as my return fire caught one trying to recalibrate their shields, the energy sphere consuming both the warrior and their cover position. I led my squad toward Processing Site 7's main dome, my anchor limbs moving in perfect synchronization as we bounded over debris and fallen humans. The facility's warning klaxons began to sound, primitive audio signals that vibrated unpleasantly against my sensory membranes. Around us, the battle was shifting. Human screams filled the orange haze. Their technological advantages were failing. Our superior numbers would prevail. The chronological feed showed 15.27, exactly 1 unit since our deployment, as the subcommander's resonance carried satisfaction. Well done, 3rd Scout Verax. The Hav will remember this tactical innovation. I extended my victory tendrils skyward as we advanced, my sensory frills still tracking for threats, but detecting only retreat signals from the remaining humans. The methane facility's automated systems continued their steady rhythm, now pumping resources that would serve a greater purpose. These disgusting skin bags would learn. They can keep their planet for as long as they can manage, but Titan belongs to the greater galaxy, now and for always.